firstly, thank you all for coming. This is such a pleasure to be here, and my first time in Nepal, Kathmandu. Starting with how I got into music. I come from a very, very musical background, having mom as a singer and dad as a bass player. Mom is also trained in Bharatanatyam, Kathak. She's a 4-year diploma artist, so I used to learn dancing as well. And always when I used to come back from school or college, music would be floating in the house, and that's how I got fascinated by music, and Dad noticed the interest, and he started teaching me. Everybody knows the story behind how I picked up the bass and all that, so I won't blah blah about that, but just how beautiful it is and how it plays such a beautiful role in our lives. I always believe in every generation there is an evolution of sorts in all fields, but at certain times in history there is a sort of commonly referred to as the paradigm shift, and that seems to be happening on the planet right now. When I hear different kinds of music that fascinates me, that just makes me pumped up, and when I listen to AR's music or Chick Corea and all the music that I love listening to, George Benson, Bruno Mars, and etc., they just make me feel like my desire and hunger is just never enough. And in music, that's what we're looking for. We should not, like she said, there's no boundaries. We should never find the boundary, because if we get there, then there's nothing that we're looking forward to, right? So it's always good to infuse your enthusiasm, contentment, joy, clarity, the emotions that you have inside, to be able to sync that with music, to be able to convey that, and to be able to sing that with your instrument, which is your voice. When you can do that, then you're actually speaking through your music, and then the desire is never enough. I started playing when I was around 9 years old. I started playing with Ranjit Uncle, always in clubs, Friday, Saturday nights, and playing jazz standards all the time. But then slowly, people started to know that there is this young girl and playing with Ranjit, and why not call her and ask her if she's going to be interested in playing in other kinds of setups. So then my first fusion band, I think, was I played with Nila Kumar. That was my first collaboration gig. I was never a part of any band as such. It was all like a collaboration. It just slowly happened. When somebody's not free, I would just kind of go some spirit and play like that. So Nila Kumar, then slowly Silvermani happened, and then slowly Persona happened. Like that, everything. Slowly when you start playing with all these musicians, like take for example Prasanna himself, he's a big name. So when I played with him, instantly people are going to know that, oh, there's a girl playing with Prasanna, who is she? They will want to know, and then word just gets spread so fast. And then I think through Prasanna, Victor got to know me, because I did a cover of this Raga Pop, one of his songs, and we were rehearsing in his school, Sam. Swarnabhumi Academy, and he just put a video on Facebook, and that's how Victor shared on Facebook, and he got amazed, because Prasanna told me that he was having a hard time playing that, and he had to practice a lot. But we as Indians, we are so rooted to Indian and odd time signature and all this kind of stuff. It's very easy for us, at least for me, because I come from that background, so it's easy for me. I know Konako, that is another plus point, and I kind of train myself under that zones, and it helps me that way. So everything that I look at is, even the metal music, all the members were laughing, because all the metal stuff, they would say and I would be like, yeah, I would be like that, and they were like, what? And then all the accented and syncopated stuff, I would take everything in terms of Konako. So I would learn it in terms of tarikta or takitaka or quintuplets and parallels and all this kind of stuff. And I'm very close to drums beats also, so I know how to phrase. If some drummer is playing that, I can play exactly the same. I've trained myself such a way that I can play anything that can be played on drums. So a lot of people tell me that I'm not a bass player, I'm a drummer on the bass. Yeah. In a way, it's kind of true, I guess, but I try to be a bass player sometimes. playing with a lot of tabla players, so I always had this tendency of playing the exact chops as the tabla player. So, say for example, when I heard the tabla player do the most common one, yeah, that's the most common one. So when I used to hear them play that, I would not play nothing. I would just be like, yeah, that's boring. And I always wanted to play the same thing. So the first thing, very close to that, what I played was this. But I'm going doubles, I'm not going, yeah, I have to do that. That's the second thing I did. But first thing was that. Yeah. And second thing closest was. And the third closest thing, because with time passing by, I felt like, okay, it's getting there, but I could sound much more powerful. So then I started doing. Yeah, that's the third closest thing that somebody can do. And then the fourth one was, what was the fourth one I did? Yeah, I did this. All I'm doing is just muting with my 3 fingers of my left hand. And yeah, 2. Only the last one I'm doing. Because I need takita. I can't do it. I can do that, but just for a little variety. Yeah, that was it. And then I saw Anton Davidian, this other bass player friend of mine, and I showed him this technique and he couldn't do that. But he could do it with another technique, and I couldn't do that. So I stole that technique and he stole my technique, and then we just started practicing and sending videos to each other, and then I started bleeding and all that shit, you know. It was so hard because my thumb was really, really not strong. So he used to do something like this. That's what he used to do. Now I get it, but back then I used to not get it. And then he does all this kind of stuff. When you want to do five triplets, that's quintuplets in one beat, then it will sound like this. Yeah, so. That's really difficult. And then a lot of other ways to do it. Oh yeah, this is one that I sometimes do. So first, and then clap. So you can do. But it doesn't sound much powerful. You know, this sounds much powerful. That sounds powerful. That's much powerful. So if you want to be like closest to the drums, then these are some things that you can do. And of course, if you're playing in fingers, that's yeah, that's one way. Nobody would be able to hear that. Yeah, because there are a lot of instruments. If you're playing with like a cajon player, then this could work if you equalize it in a way. Also, if you see on my bass, I use 50%, almost 50 to 60% of a little bit of everything, but the mid-high is all the way up, like totally 100%, because I like this. I'll tell you the difference. If I roll this down completely, it's gonna sound like this. It's gonna give me this. And for slap sound, what I do is I keep 50% of my passive now, and then increase the high mids on my preamp in here. I have an OBB angular preamp in this one, so the settings here and here are exactly the same. I turn down the mid lows. This is mid lows. I turn down the mid lows completely down, That's why I get so much of bottom end, but yet high. Yeah? But if I completely turn this down and turn up the mid lows and play it on my finger mode, this is my finger mode, then it would sound something like this. Not bad, but I like the brighter sound. I like this sound. So these are a few things that I do. grand piano and vocals, yeah? So now I have to act as a drummer as well as the bass player. So I need to keep the tempo, yeah? But my groove is... But where is the groove coming from? There is groove, but I need more, yeah? Otherwise the singer won't get the time, yeah? So then I ended up doing 1, 2, 3. All I'm doing is just keeping a tempo. It's simple. It looks simple, but try doing that. It's very hard.
Are you aware of all the notes when you play?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If I wouldn't know it, then I wouldn't hit them. Yeah, I wouldn't hit them. Because I'm always looking for like phrases. I'm forming a lot of different kinds of phrases. So like, for example, if I want a solo on D major 7th, then I'll come back to like C major, C sharp major. So what would I play from there if I hit that note? Because it's that note, and I'm playing that. So it would sound wrong. That time I would have to be like. If you don't know any scales and if you don't know what's going to sound better on what scale, what's going to sound better on what chord, first you have to know what sounds better inside of the scale to be able to explore every possibility that is possible inside the scale. And then you can find out what's outside. Say if you want to play something outside, two common ways are augmented and diminished, or playing the melodic minor, or blues, but say whole tone and down tone. I'll give you an example. How? But you have to keep in mind that you have to come back to that scale. Otherwise it's going to sound wrong, right? Say for example you're in C minor and you want to start from the D, from the 5th note. you choose where you want to start from. I want to start from the fifth note, yeah? So what scale comes from the fifth note? C minor.
How do you go about practicing your bass?
So that's a good question. When I used to practice when I was around like 7-ish, I always used to practice this, and I still do practice this sometimes. It's an exercise that I show to everybody. It's amazing how it not only helps. Sorry, I'm gonna shift this because it's like coming in my nose. What I do is I play the root note first, hit the third note. Say if you're on the C major scale, yeah. So the root would be C, third would be E, hit the fifth note, and the seventh note. Could be a minor seventh, could be a major seventh, could be just a seventh, yeah? Depends on what scale you're playing. Here I'm playing a natural scale, that's why it's gonna be a major seventh, C major, I don't know. So I would do it third, fifth, seventh, and then third, fifth, seventh, second, yeah? So that's the sequence I follow. So I would not play it with my two fingers, but I would include my thumb as well, so that I always believe in exercises which not only help me in one subject, but more than one subject. Otherwise, it just consumes away too much time, which I hate. I'm very impatient. So I always believe in exercises which serve me in more than one subject. So I would play the first note with my thumb, and then hammer on. In like soloing for saxophonists and trumpets, so you'll always hear like. They would always do all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's a great practice. I always do this because it helps in stretching and increasing the gaps between fingers. And it also trains your thumb, which is the weakest one. For me, this is the weakest. Most people think for left hand, this is the weakest finger. So what I practice sometimes is this. with my own stuff. I'm always playing for people, so it's not, it's really hard to find time for my own stuff. And same with the other musicians who are playing on my album. They're always touring, like Siva and Tony Matapal, and you know, all these guys. They're all playing on the album, so once they're up from the tour, they'll do it.